What's going on, peeps? We are here at, what's the name of this street, John?
This is off of right here, South Walker Street.
South Walker.
And this is the home back in the 90s to a place called Vidiots that we've been talking about in other videos. Of course, the building right now is a Armed Force Career Center. You ready to join the military?
I've been there, done that.
I think we're too old now. So, yeah. But anyway, you look, they redid the building and they made it really prettified. Back in the 90s, this building was blue.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. And they've actually redid this driveway a little bit too, because it used to, well, it still slopes up a little bit, but it seemed like it was a hell of a lot more of a hill coming up in here or whatever. We used to always park over there. And this was like in 95, 96, I remember. I don't know how long they lasted. I think into the 2000s. Don't you remember, Eddie?
Oh, yeah. And it really, one of the things I definitely remember, I remember it was definitely here in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it was here quite a while.
Because I distinctly remember, and I'll tell you why, because one of the things I do remember about this particular Vidiots is me I needed a case.
Oh, yeah?
For when Phantasm 4 came out, and I had the videotape. I just needed the case for it.
Yeah.
And I got my Phantasm 4 video case from this Vidiots.
Let's walk over here a little bit.
And that was 1998, and I distinctly remember that.
You see the top of this, they say before then, way back in the 80s, which I don't remember, but they said this used to be actually before the Vidiots was here. It was a damn KFC. And you can kind of tell
That's
by the
true.
top of that.
That's true.
I don't never remember it being KFC.
Yeah, now I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When that back then in the 90s, these columns wasn't here, these flowers, they've redone a lot of this.
Yeah.
I actually remember I went to school with maybe not the original owners, but later on in the late 90s, like 99, 90, right at 2000, a guy named Michael Hayes and his sister Angela, I think her name was Angie, or they just called her Angie, Hayes. They was running this place, and they ran the one in Bluefield too, and it's beside of the subway. And I knew another employee that worked here. So the one big memory I remember about this place is when Friday first came out, the very first Friday. We came here and looked, me and a buddy of mine, his name's John Dunnigan, and he'll be watching this video, he'll remember, every time we come in here, that damn movie, they only had one copy, and it was out for weeks and weeks and weeks when they first came out, and it took forever. And then one time we went in here, and he was like, holy shit, they got Friday finally. We grabbed it up and ran home and watched it for the first time. Plus, they also had a back room, too, and I was legal age at that time, so they had the little doors that you could swing in like you was going into a damn saloon back in the West or something. And here's a guy that's going to recruit me into the military, so we'll watch out for him. But that's the biggest things I remember. And, of course, my buddy went in there and yelled out one time because we knew the people that worked here. We didn't care. He walked in there and he's like, "Good Lord!" like that, and looked around because there was and he walked out and his face was real red. I'm like, "What?" He goes, "There's a guy in there, man." So I think he scared the guy, but yeah, like I said, this was Vidiots, and that's about it I'll remember for this one.
Yeah, that's about all I really remember too. As far as really renting here, I never really rented.
Yeah, well, I rented quite a bit
now,
at that time.
The Vidiots in Bluefield, yeah, because that Vidiots was only about half a mile up the road from where we lived. But I do remember KFC being here. And when I first moved here back in the late 80s, about 87, it wasn't here for very long, but I do remember that KFC here. And yeah, you can tell.
I always was told because of the top of it, the way it looked like that.
When you first brought that up, I thought you was going to tell like a horror story, like some guy like jumped off the top of that or something.
No, it was, like I said, it was the KFC at the time. Well, they said before that, I don't know how, but it ended up being blue. I don't think KFC was KFC's red.
It went from red to blue to yellow.
Yeah. Well, it's been other things before that though. It was a place like what do you call that stuff? They do tannins, all that tannin stuff or whatever. It used to be like a tannin place or something at one time too. So
I remember
that's about
that.
it for this one though, really.
Yeah.
How you doing? Pretty good. How are you? Well, I'm just doing a little video. We're getting ready to leave. We're not bothering nothing. But yeah, that's he probably put me in jail. But he got his water too. No, I don't want to go to the military. I'm too old.
Yeah.
It's the Armed Forces Care Center now, or Career Center.
He's about ready to walk up on you and recruit you, sign you up, buddy.
Yeah.
Ship you overseas somewhere.
Actually, when I was, I think it was 19 one time, I did go to Marine recruiting one time. And of course, when I was about 19, 20, that's when I started to gain a little bit of weight. And I used to be real skinny when I was a little kid. But they told me I had to lose 50 pounds before I went in boot camp, and then they would run my ass off then. And I'm like, hell, if y'all like shit, lose 50 pounds before I even come in. I never did go. Probably wish I would have. Sometimes maybe, but then I hear horror stories about military. So
when I went in the military, I lost almost 20 pounds when I went.
Yeah.
They run the shit out of me, buddy. But I tell you what, it's the best shape of my life I ever been in, and I got to a point where I could run 5 or 6 miles and not stop. But that's another story.
Yeah, this is Vidiots, and we'll go on to the next one.
We'll give it one last look here before we sign off.
Yep. Vidiots, go in the back room and yell, woo! Till next time, gangsters.
Peace.